Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let me try that again. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Moltrap, and I can actually speak English. Don't worry, I forgot for a minute there, but it's all right. I'm back. I can speak a little bit of a few other languages as well, but mostly English, unfortunately. Uh, not unfortunately that I speak English, but unfortunately that I can't speak other languages fluently. In any case, Kwanro versus BeSt. BeSt versus Kwanro, if you want to go from left to right. Depends on how you're reading it. Um, this is game 2. Game 1, Kwanro got outclassed. I hate to say it, but, I like Kwanro, but he just, he just didn't have anything for BeSt. He just didn't have any answer. Part of it was that he went for some early attacks, and BeSt repulsed them pretty easily. And those early attacks, I think, put Kwanro a little bit behind. Kwanro is very, very good at macro, but he's also very good at switching from econ to macro. He gets forces out really, really well when he needs them. But he just couldn't macro up enough to face BeSt in that matchup. I mean, it was Andromeda, so BeSt was able to get 3 bases pretty easily. And Kwanro was a little behind because he made some early attacks, and so he wasn't able to macro up enough to really face BeSt. So we'll see if he can bring something else to the table in game 2 here. This is going to be on Othello, which I think will be a little bit better for Kwanro than Andromeda. BeSt will have to move out of his base to get a 3rd base. Unfortunately, he will be able to get a 2nd gas pretty easily, so there's not that or anything. So we'll have to see if Kwanro can bring anything else to this game here. BeSt scouting. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, he's probably going to put his pylon up there, do the usual Protoss fast expansion build. He is going to scout after all. Okay, I wasn't sure if he was going to scout or not. It makes sense to scout because otherwise it's actually a long ways to bring your probe back to your minerals after planting that pylon. So, well, it's not that long, but I mean, it makes sense to scout after that. It's just a little bit efficient. Kwanro, unfortunately, is also scouting in the wrong direction. He's not going to be able to see what BeSt is doing. He can pretty much tell what BeSt is doing. I mean, not tell, but I mean, he can predict pretty easily what BeSt is doing. The only thing that will be a problem for Kwanro is if BeSt was doing some sort of a 2-gate build, 2-gate zealots, or a quick tech build or something like that, and he didn't know about it, but BeSt is not doing that, so it's not going to be a big deal. I have a feeling that Kwanro, if he doesn't get a scout in before too long, he'll probably send out a drone just to make sure, but he may not have to. His 2nd Overlord is heading that direction, and it looks like he actually is sending out a drone or something. I'm looking on the minimap here. Okay, yeah, he did send out a drone to check. So, yeah, that's exactly what he did. He's already got a 2nd hatchery down. BeSt sees it. He's going to plant down that Nexus in just a moment. So because he's seen that now, he couldn't plant down his Nexus first because he hadn't spotted what Kwanro was doing yet. So he had to put down that forge just in case. But now that he's spotted this going on, spotted the 12 hatchery, he's going to be able to do that, put down his Nexus. It looks like Kwanro might even try to delay the Nexus. Last game, BeSt not letting Kwanro put his hatchery down, and this game Kwanro might try and not let BeSt. And oh, the probe gets driven off. Oh, another probe coming in from behind. No, Kwanro. Oh, he gets the Nexus down. He did delay it for a good 5-7 seconds though, so that's significant. He might be able to take out the probe. Oh, kills the probe. Very nice. In the early game, even just 1 or 2 probes can count for a lot, and so that was a decent loss. I don't think it's too significant at this point in the game, but we'll have to see. Anyway, Kwanro actually getting down a 3rd hatchery at his next expansion. So it's a difficult expansion to defend. So Kwanro's going to have to be very, very on top of that if he's going to defend that 3rd base. If BeSt decides to move out. But on the other hand, it does mean he might have 3 gas very quickly, 3 bases going very quickly. So it depends on how he's able to defend that. And part of the thing with this build for Protoss is that it's very defensive. You have to stay in your base for a little while, and so I mean, unless you make a few zealots or what have you, but you generally have to stay in your base for the most part, and so Kwanro is going to have a little leeway to move out like this, putting out a 4th hatchery at the top of his ramp. Now he's got a couple Zerglings out to try and track down that scouting probe, and after right now he's just going all econ, and there's nothing too interesting to see for BeSt to see. But once he decides to get moving on something else, on some tech, it's going to be very important for him to kill that probe so that BeSt does not know what he's doing, because that is the key for Protoss, and that is one of the things that Jelizerg, for instance, has done a lot of against Protoss. He's denied the scout, killed off that scout, usually made a few Zerglings, destroyed the scout, and then gone something unexpected. And that is one of the things that he was able to do against BeSt, for instance. You know, and he finds out Jelizerg, for instance, will even he'll throw in like a whole group of Zerglings just to get a few Zerglings into the Protoss base, just to see what they're doing. And you know, it's that kind of information that is precisely what you need. So you know, you go in there, you find out what they're doing, you deny them from finding out that you're doing something to block it, and that's all there is to it. And that probe sneaking through, Kwanro set up a nice surround of that probe, and then was not able to catch it after all. Anyway, BeSt sending out a Zealot here to do some harassment, so he sees this 3rd base. For some reason he's running off, probably because there's no drones there, I guess, for him to try and pick off. Probe's still alive in his base. This is amazing. He's getting a 2nd gas down in his natural expansion. So we are going to see him start to rake in more gas. He's going to start getting his economy up here. He only has 1 drone mining. I think he's probably not putting too many drones at this base because he's afraid of these Zealots over here coming in and picking stuff off. The more drones he has there, the more he'll have to micro his drones around to keep them safe. And oh man, a total fake out by that Zealot, just jumping right between those Zerglings and stopping. Anyway, it looks like BeSt moving in again, just trying to do some harassment, trying to throw Kwanro off here. And dang it, what game was it that we saw just recently? Wow. So wow, BeSt picking off two drones there with that Zealot. I'm sorry I'm not on top of my game today. I feel kind of off in my commentating today. So I guess I should apologize for that, and also for not necessarily having as much energy as I usually do. I'm waiting back to hear on a job, and I really want this job, but they haven't called me back yet, and so I'm kind of depressed because I feel like they're not going to give it to me, but we'll see. Anyways, what was I saying? BeSt able to pick off some drones there, but Kwanro, oh yeah, I was going to try and remember a game, I think it was versus Savior. Yeah, Free versus Savior, that's what it was. Where Klazar did a commentary of that, by the way, if you want to go watch it. But Savior basically Free sent in a couple Zealots and split them up and went and attacked different points with his Zealots. And it was, I mean, it was pretty minor. It was only a couple Zealots, 2 or 3 Zealots, but it was enough to completely distract Savior, get him to build a ton of Zerglings, and he lost several drones, and he was just completely distracted. His macro was thrown off as well. And it was just some minor harassment. Ended up turning out to be a really huge deal in that game. That's kind of what I was thinking of there. Kwanro, on the other hand, dealing very coolly with those Zealots, picking off one pretty coolly good, although BeSt didn't make him chase him around as much as Free did, Savior. But now he's got Corsairs on anyway, so he's going to be able to run around and do more mobile harassment of Overlords. He's not going to be able to pick off drones with the Corsairs, obviously, but he is going to be able to scout everything that Kwanro is doing now. So he's not. It's a little too late for Kwanro to come out with a surprise muted attack or something like that. And Kwanro's probably going to just forfeit the air here. Those are too many Corsairs for him to try and come out with. Unless we see players sometimes will go for like a